Between 1990 and 1995, I was fortunate to work for Patagonia. I lived in Europe and in America. And I don't know if you read this book, but I think you should. It was written about the time period that I worked for Patagonia. During this time, Yvon Chouinard, who was the owner of Patagonia, who still is the owner of Patagonia, he decided that we should cut 50% of our dealer base in America and at the same time grow the business. In the year coming, we did exactly that, and we grew the business by 50%, or by 30%. The reason was that we focused on quality. At the same time, we also decided to stop using petroleum-based fleece in doing fleece products. We changed to the PET bottle fleece, and it revolutionized the whole business. We also changed from normal cotton to organic cotton. Today, organic cotton is one of the bigger reasons why people buy cotton in the outdoor industry. So what this showed me was that through the company Patagonia, they managed to change the practices of a whole industry. Going back in time, I was born on an airplane, I say. I lived in many countries growing up, and the benefit of that was to learn several languages. But the most important thing that I learned was to communicate when I could not speak the language. I became a chameleon, and I could fit into most different environments. I went to university in America and went on a sports scholarship. I studied international trade. And after my university, I had to go to the military service in Sweden, and I spent a little over a year in the Swedish Special Forces, living most of the time outside in remote places. I then went back to America and got a job as an oil trader for Shearson, Lehman, American Express, and we all know how it went with Lehman Brothers after it. I never took the job. I actually went sailing in the South Pacific instead, on a 100-year-old sailing ship. And I spent almost a year living according to the rules of nature, working on a ship like this. So in the summer of 1990, I went to Chamonix because I needed to unite my passion for the outdoors with my education, and I got a job with Patagonia. And that's how my story with Patagonia, my love affair with Patagonia started. I also, 2 weeks after the fact that I moved to Chamonix, I met a friend at a birthday party. And Mats Skott is today my business partner since almost 30 years. So we've been working together and doing things together for 30 years, from that coincidence of meeting at a birthday party. We started racing in ski mountaineering together, where you basically run up hills with your skis on and ski down on the bottom. And this took us to adventure racing. So in 1995, we went for our first adventure race, where we raced in teams of 4, where you have both sexes represented. We raced 9 days non-stop in Patagonia, in Argentina this time. And for 13 years, this was our job. We worked as professional adventure racers, and we started a business on the side that was based around sports marketing, where we united the values of adventure racing being teamwork, nature, endurance, and the motivation to push yourself further into a business. Then my car broke down. It was October 2005, more or less at the same time as this, and I took my car to a car shop to get it fixed. And I went to pick it up, and the owner of the car shop, he says, "You know, I've seen you on TV." I have some friends who made a bet between each other, and I would like it if you met them so you could make a commercial activity out of their bet. And I was really not interested because we were really busy with everything we were doing. But because he fixed my car, I said, sure, what was the bet? And he said, well, and I was living in Stockholm at the time, and outside of Stockholm there's 30,000 islands. He said to me, they ran in teams of 2, ran and swam from the island of Utah to the island of Stockholm. It means nothing to you, but it's actually 75 kilometers, and over and between 25 islands. They had to swim between the islands. And I just looked at him and I said, is that even possible? And he said, yes, they've done it twice. So, I was really intrigued. And I called Mats, my business partner, and I said, look, Mats, I just met this guy and he told me about this bet. Let's meet these 4 people and let's see if it's actually possible to do something. And it was, again, this little coincidence that we saw as an opportunity, and we met the guys, we talked to them, and we decided that we would do a race. One of the criteria was that we had to be able to finish it within 24 hours, or within daylight hours. It also had to be during the part of the year in Sweden where, one, the ocean's not frozen, but of course, also at the same time that there weren't lots of boats. So we said, let's do it the first weekend of September. We called the race ÖTILLÖ. It means island to island in Swedish. And we designed a logo, which is the one that I have on me now. The bet was based on the map that you see, which was a napkin they played around with while getting a little bit too drunk. So basically, we started an event based on a drunken bet. In the summer of 2006, I and Mats and 2 of the guys that had done the original bet, we went to the island of Sandhamn, and we got on the water and we started swimming and running our way down to Utah because we had to test if it was possible to do this or not before we actually took money from people to say that they should do it. And by the end of the afternoon, we had managed to get 3/4 of the way. And we said, we can do this. And we started a race on the first weekend of September with 9 teams. And teams, because we said that you have to do it in pairs of 2. Why? One is a safety reason. You have to stay within 10 meters of each other to take care of each other. But also for the emotional experience. It was more than just running and swimming and creating a time or a position. It was about experiencing nature together and being completely dependent on the other person, and that person being completely dependent on you, creating an unbreakable bond. Only 9 teams started, 2 teams finished. And at the end of the race, Mats and I said to each other, let's make a business based on this race. Most people we spoke to said we were nuts, we were idiots. In 2012, CNN called ÖTILLÖ one of the toughest challenges in the world. We had more than 700 teams trying to apply to a race with 100 spots. There were 4 copycat races in Sweden, and one of our former racers had just called me and said, do you mind if I call what we're doing Swimrun? And I said, Swimrun? Sounds fantastic. Do you mind if we call it Swimrun as well? And she said, no, let's do that. So in 2012, we actually had a name for our activity. It was called Swimrun. Since then, we have today races in Croatia, Sweden, France, England, Switzerland, Germany, Malta, and the USA under our brand. In the world, Swimrun is today one of the fastest growing endurance sports, and it all emanated from this bet. Even here in Portugal, I know Bruno Safara's in here, there is a Swimrun circuit. The sport is growing immensely. But why is it doing that? It's because what we want to do is to create dreams, and we want to create emotions, and we want to create unbreakable bonds between people so that we're all interconnected and we all can take responsibility for each other. This has created a fantastic community where everyone really cares about each other and the environment that we're in. And for us, ÖTILLÖ has become a vehicle of change. We can, with ÖTILLÖ, do things that we were not able to do before. We have, for example, decided to take away cups at races and give every racer a collapsible cup. So instead of having 60,000, 70,000 cups that we consume in a year, we consume around 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000. We work with different organizations to be able to make people aware of all the plastic in the ocean. We work with social enterprises to get people off the streets and not sell their bodies but sell products to us. What we want to do is to leave footsteps and memories. And this is having a big impact on other endurance races because they are also starting to do the same thing as us. So let's feel what it feels like to go out there together.
Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. There will be highs and lows. Thank God I remain okay, y'all cannot prove. Damn how glasses drive me insane and I'm amazed. When I think about how lucky I am not to wake up in a country full of bombings, killings. None of them I got no fucking problems. Glad you never try to pull me down. Oh, too many times I did you wrong. Digging in my enemy, then I found the enemies of the fucking niggas way too strong. And I keep those diamonds in my mind too long. No, they don't believe me cause I look too young. Can every time I see the beauty be the day coming too quickly cause I'm always looking for what's wrong. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. Survive, survive. Thank God I was dead, I came back 3 years ago. Body in the air, like they say it in the shows. You pull me back in it, just to teach them what I know. Then I had to go. I gotta go and see all the shit that was in my mind. Thank God I do not leave. When Trump came after Obama, all my strength for the mamacitas. My brothers, sisters never give up. Beginning up, I knew what that nobody wants. But if it another still trust in us now. Yeah, I know. Rose got thorns and I got a long way to go. Plus I told yeah. No matter what happens, we never down. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive. Thank God I can breathe, I can be what they can buy. Even when I'm weak, I'm sure it's gonna be alright. Thank God I got home, I got food and I got ya. Yes, I will survive.
So when you're creating your own success, it brings a lot of responsibility. And we have to constantly try to change what's going on around us. Thank you.